Alright, got away from work around like 6:15, which is crazy early for me. And capitalized by coming out here, getting right to work. So basically I've just been cleaning things up. The wiring was kind of messy. Sounds like the wind just picked up, but again, mainly just the lack of space with the heater box and the ducting and everything kind of kills it again. That's where a race truck would come in handy. We wouldn't have any of that crud. We could do all kinds of cool stuff back there. But a couple of key things. Number one, we've cleaned up the wiring significantly. We've looped and coiled some stuff. This is the camera wire. Again, if we ever pull this, if we want to throw it, change the location, what have you, we can go to town there. That was all extra. Violet that I ran, I've coiled that much up. It was kind of measured all the way to the radio. I've since decided to just pull this through. It's very cramped in the radio cavity, so that'll be that. I've hit that heat shrink. I just did those two and kind of make them stand out when I was thinking I was going to connect back there. This conglomeration of thick cable here that I've also routed here to get out of that cavity, that's the GPS antenna. Good Lord, they gave us a lot of that. Really cool thing I did, at least I think it's cool. If you go up, it's really hard to see, but right here is the heater core, right? Kind of where that foam gasket is. Above that, where the convoluted tubing goes, and you should see the blue, that is a dash brace. And what I did with that dash brace is I put some Velcro. It's relatively horizontal, about 180 with the ground, if you will. And I ain't putting that thing on our brand new dash. I'm not even sure that I'm going to use GPS, but I went ahead and I put that thing there. I think it's a pretty good spot. So that's kind of stealthily tucked out of the way. Have this bundle here of USBs that'll just kind of dangle into the dashboard for now. It's a shame out of all the cables that they just overkilled on, that they kind of, those are long, but you could have done some cool things, route them over, center console type of a thing through the floorboard. We may still do that, but for now I'm just gonna get it buttoned up. But essentially now I'm just gonna hang all this, get the two connected. I also reconnected our airbags somewhere up in there. You should see yellow. I don't know if you do, but we got that done. And I want to get this hung back just so I can see if the glove box will see it. I also need to reinstall that bulb that dropped out for the glove box light. But yeah, gonna go ahead and get that taken care of and see how it turns out. And just like that magic, we've got everything tucked up, kind of tied away. Trying to keep it away from the heater cord just in case. But the only thing dangling through there is going to be our USBs, which will go into the glove box. Bulb is back in, airbags connected, everything's good. What I want to do now is see if the glove box actually fits with the wiring back there. It opens unimpeded, if you will. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we will have the passenger side buttoned back up. She fought me, but she's in. It's been a while since I had to throw that thing together. Procedure, I guess I did it correctly the first time, just didn't fight the pin in enough, if you will. The main thing, it closed. That's what I was worried about. If I can set that light there, we open it up. It's not dropping down like it used to be, sort of because of our fix with that bolt you probably saw over there. But boom, light's not on, battery's not connected, but in and out. It's awesome. Super stoked with that. And now we move to the driver's side footwell, where we just have to button up a few things. I've got to build a jumper harness for the ground for this HP ProLink. I don't know if I'm going to leave this like connected or disconnect it so I can use it in other vehicles. I've kind of taped it up so it kind of corresponds with the colors for the AEM in this application, but we shall see. But nonetheless, passenger side buttoned up. Super stoked about that. Alright, so hot off the press, literally that heat shrink is smoking. We have a little jumper. Basically the ring terminal is going to go to our bus bar on the negative side, and we'll run it out again. This is basically plenty to get me to the OBD2 port, and more than enough to suffice with this harness. I don't exactly know how we're going to leave it set up or take it out or use it in different vehicles. So basically we'll mate up there, go to ground. Our HP ProLink is ground. And yeah, the red I believe is going to be serial 1 Blue should be serial to conflicting info again. Orange and yellow we don't care about, they're CAN bus. At least on this, I left them there because we have CAN bus on other vehicles and we very well may wind up using that, so hence the dilemma. So for now, we'll just have this jumper so this can all plug and play. Let's go get her installed. Alright, so it's not beautiful, but it's functional for now. And that's what we were going for. So the big thing that threw it off is having to run that jumper back the other direction, and then the mic wire, that thing is just a giant pain in the butt. But it's covered up, it's coiled, it's tucked up, it's hidden, it's out of the way. I'm going to try to put that panel back on, and man, that's going to be crazy seeing that thing on. Oh man, talk about satisfying. That is buttoned up, it's tucked, it cleared just like we wanted it to. And that means that we can put the screws in. I've got them somewhere down here, right there. Again, the trick, you'll see this little light. By having it there, I was able to see down at the dash frame to line that other side up. It's kind of weird with the steering wheel. But kick panel, we're going to throw that back on. It'll be attached with this one rocker screw. And then the fuse cover, we'll go ahead and throw that thing back on. And this will start to look like an assembled interior. Crazy. Alright, so there it is. I kind of forgot to film some of the stuff, but I was in a hurry to get in. It's almost 10, I haven't eaten supper. Stereo is in, we just got to mount it. I don't want to pull that thing back out. Took some time to clean that up. Heater controls, I just have to connect that funky thing there. AMAFR gauge, looking like it's going to work. We got a bunch of warning lights there we'll deal with later. One of these days, I'm going to top off the washer fluid, just FYI. And that light right there is going to go away. And, we need that documented. The headlight switch is kind of why we don't have any interior lights. That's buttoning up the instrument cluster, the heater controls, tucking that in. That's really all that we've got left before we put the bezel back on. And that's kind of crazy to think about. Airbags, we'll do that thing last. Those are still disconnected. But look, it's a glove box with the dash. It's a lower dash panel. This is insane to see again. So with that said, like I mentioned, headlight switch mess, we got to figure that out. But all my steering wheel controls are still working. Everything stayed connected good. Looks like we're home free on that front. I'm gonna get inside, make supper. But yeah, really happy with the progress tonight. It's nice to see something tangible. Of course, that's one of the big payouts. So with that said though, hope you're enjoying, and I'll catch you back as we continue plugging along here in the Ram Revival. Alright, another new day, another scorcher out here. Went ahead, I did something I didn't think was going to work. We do not have, I think it's like a 3mm, one of those ridiculous long tube lights. Probably soldered, I don't know. But I cannot seem to source like an OE replacement without buying a switch. I think the standard one's probably okay that we pulled somebody's connector out of. But I had little tiny cob LEDs, and they're totally going to be way too shallow. But I put one in here, and I'm going to see how it looks. I tried to bench test it. I just, without setting the camera up or something stupid, I couldn't really do it. But the fog light indicator is going to be fine. It's close proximity. But what worries me is like everything else that lights up is from this one bulb. The bulb itself seemed bright on the bench. I just don't know what it looks like in the housing. That's in there. It's loosely connected for now. The other thing I did, I remembered where I put the little 3/8 bolts that hold the stereo in place. You've got one here and one here. We got the Koken with the big extension and the nut grip coming in clutch. That's buttoned back up. What we have left, you can actually see that decent enough without a light. It's just that funky little vacuum pod connector on the heater controls. So we will pull that out, get that connected, button it back up, shoot some screws through the gauge cluster, and if this functions, we'll button it back up with those two screws I've got sitting here. If that doesn't function, I don't really know. I guess I will just pull a bulb out of that standard switch and we'll just use it for the time being. But yeah, that should get us going. So I'm gonna make these changes, see how they work, and we'll take it from there. All right, so the blue glow tells you the interior lights are back on. The heater controls, I just have one screw in it. This is loosely connected, but it's obviously connected enough to function. Okay, the little blue LED It's not gonna be like ideal. I think again the depth thing would help it project up, but it is actually going. So if we pull that out, you can see my little fog indicator. Again, that's super vibrant of a color because it's right there at the face of the, screening. That's probably going to look a lot better in the dark, but not quite what it's supposed to be. So anyway, that switch does work. The bulb does work. I guess we can chalk that up as a win unless I want to like go back with the green. Case in point, and that might be like a standalone video later, but you can see like the cluster there, it's clearly green, right? I have not touched that. That's factory ambient lighting. This is blue. It's a little difficult to see. And then if you come over here, the heater controls are the green as well. So I'm tempted just to throw the standard one in here and not have it mismatched for now. I think that's what I'll probably do, but this did actually work. So again, the one that we had is the fog light bulb, which again, I know that's like blurry and it's daytime in here, but take my word for it, it's blue. Man, that's annoying as all get out. Love old cars for one of those reasons. But yeah, it could go in like this. We could switch it back. I'll see what I think. I did want to showcase this. I can't leave well enough alone. There was a smudge here and it was dirty down here at the footwell. I went ahead, cleaned the kick panel up, put the fuse cover on last night, so now we'll really get the kick panel on. And it's bezel time. We just have a couple of screws to shoot through, and there we go. So I'll make a decision on this off camera, let you know what I did, and we'll get this thing buttoned up. Alright, so ignore the beeper if you will, but this is the standard one, and what I mean by that is a standard brand, the replacement headlight switch. And for the longest time I didn't think it worked because we didn't have interior lights, and they finally came on. I had to dial this up, of course, it was totally off. The issue is, I think, like the headlights and stuff seems to function, but there comes the fog. So the fog is good, it's not a factory color at all, but up here there's like no illumination through this switch. So I'm inclined to say that that bulb is either bad or non-functional. I'm going to figure that out. Alright, this was a total nightmare to get that thing out of there. The factory bulb is right here. You can see the issue. She's burned. So, I don't have a tripod over here. I'm going to try to keep my hands out of here. Got 12 volts. Gonna come in. This one, it's like really dim. Like I think the camera shows that, like you can see. Also, it doesn't have a green cover, it has a blue cover, which is interesting. So the bulb does work. I'm gonna see if I can maybe reseat it or just plug it into the factory one. But right here, well, I've got you in a strange position. This is what we're working with right there. So factory gray tube and burned. The standard replacement switch is the black tube with the blue cover. The bases, the factory one, I'm able to just extract with a screwdriver. It holds really well. Not the case with this aftermarket one, but I may drop this in the factory switch and see what that looks like, in all honesty. And then it's sort of like a half and half hybrid, assuming that shines through blue. So let's see what that does. Okay, so scratch that. Something is definitely going on with that aftermarket switch. I say that, it was so difficult to get that tube out. I thought, well, I think the base of the bulb is actually wider, you know, it must not be whatever uniform size it is, or maybe it was produced incorrectly. I thought I'll just drop the factory one in there. This tube will not go through the exposed copper there. So I could probably force it, I'm not going to, it's a burned out bulb. So I thought, okay, well, let's just go ahead and do this. So this is the little LED that I pulled out. Again, that is not what should be in there, but it's what I had and it fit. So when you put this guy in, it'll drop down just fine, but it does not. It's the same thing. This is just the base of this bulb is bushed out like crazy. And I could mash it in there, but I don't want to do that to my factory switch. So I may, for the time being, go back with this guy. So I think that's what we're going to do and just call it good, because this is wonky stuff coming out of that switch. Again, it looked like somebody had used it already. I don't know what all went down to it, but we're just going to go with what I have that's functional, and that's this tiny little LED, so it is what it is. Alright, so something is out of place in this picture, and if you thought it was the bulbs, you'd be correct. They don't belong on that segment of the dash. That's what I did. I just went ahead and thought, you know what, if that side's got to be blue for now, we just as well swap those out. So I did it with the vehicle running. The glaring weakness, of course, is factory green. Now, I've got the bulbs to do the cluster. The only problem is I think it's going to drive me nuts that the mileage is going to stay green. You basically have to like change laminations and stuff to modify that as best I know. Currently, I think I'm just going to leave it because I'm kind of on the fence about that. I kind of need to drive with it, see what I think at nighttime, right? But with the fog lights on, that's also the blue. And I think it actually looks pretty good. I was really worried that it would look stupid here, and it does not at all on the AC controls. So stereo's there, steering wheel controls work. It's time to button this down and put the bezel on, and we'll take it from there. The thing that worries me is like the check gauges. I don't quite know what's up with that. I don't know if like we start up and it'll come there, so we may have to come back in at some point in time in the not too distant future. But I think for now we're just gonna roll with it, and if we decide to switch things over or do something fancy, I'll walk you through it. But I am kind of excited to get the bezel on, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Ignoring the blue tape on my tilt microphone dangling off of it, this thing is back together, and it is a surreal experience having the interior back together in the truck. Cup holder can finally go up, doesn't have to hold a stereo. All we've really got left is the airbags. Kick panel, glove box, airbag, passenger side, everything is just back. It's crazy. So yeah, I think that is probably going to be a wrap here. Let's go ahead just because we can. Boom. Again, I know you're probably sick of that key. You got the aftermarket blue. We've got the green. We'll figure it out. We'll see what we like best at nighttime, real world driving conditions. But dang, super stoked about this. Oh, hey, the time is right. Sweet. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. Stereo in the dash, bezels there. Looks like a nice clean factory install. Let's come over here. Boom. Got the blue factory, AM red. It's like a Christmas tree there. And then yeah, just coming together really well. If I come in here and go into virtual reverse, keep in mind I haven't like final mounted the camera, but boom, there's the tailgate hanging down. Everything is coming up great. So this is crazy. I think I'm gonna dump some washer fluid in there, get rid of one of these things. We need to dump some fuel and get rid of that one. Washer fluid's kind of hard to see. It's right there under the seatbelt one. So check gauges, that might be our reason to go back in there. We'll see, maybe it'll come off with time. Really have no idea. But dadgum, this thing is back together on the interior. I'm going to clean the tools out again. We just have the airbags. Going to leave that for a while. Super, super excited about this progress here. So hopefully you've enjoyed this installment of the Ram Revival. Again, I kind of get hodgepodge amounts of free time outside of this weekend where I actually had significant time to string together. But dang, it's cool seeing it back. Like, if we had a hood out there, we wouldn't even know what was going on, right? It's just like old times. So we'll revisit the interior stuff as we go, maybe. But having a non-cracked dash, having a double din, it's pretty awesome. So with that said, like I mentioned, I hope you're enjoying it. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, hope you enjoyed. I hope I catch you back here. Next time, we're probably going to jump into the engine bay, top some fluids off, get the cold air installed, I guess, and then it'll be time to fire up and tune. So definitely want to be here for that. With that said, I'm going to run inside, get some supper, and catch you back here for more from the Ram Revival.